One thing about having a passion for traveling is that you do spend a lot of time in airports and on aeroplanes. As such, we've got a fairly good handle on air traffic etiquette. We've seen, and in fact, probably we've done it as well. There's numerous things that can irk other passengers, that can frustrate crew, and can create an overall unpleasant experience in the air. So, what we're going to do today is talk about things to avoid when you're traveling that will probably make you public enemy number one with all your fellow travelers. My first pointer for you would be don't block the departure gates. Now, people congregating around the departure gates, it may have happened before, but I certainly know it became quite popular with the rise of the budget airlines. I think because you had to obviously either pay for priority boarding or you weren't allocated a seat. So there was a mad scrum to get on board. Yeah, okay, I can sort of understand that. The problem is that in other airlines, it's now become fairly common. We fly a lot with BA, which has a fairly transparent and simple to understand boarding process based on your tier status for your executive club or the cabin that you're flying. Even so, I just know that the second the announcement goes out, would anyone in Group Zero, they have Group Zero now, Group Zero, Group One, like to come up. Either one, the fact that too many people are already congregated around the entrance, it's blocked and you can't get through, and that frustrates people because then suddenly you don't know who's queuing, who's not, who's pushing in, who's not. So that's particularly annoying. Also, uh, how many people still chance their arms? Like you're Group Seven. I can see it on your card. Why are you trying to get into on by group number one? And they always get turned away. So you've usually got your seat allocated, so just relax, just take your time, don't worry about it. But yeah, please don't crowd around the gates. Thank you. And number two links onto that because I know one of the reasons that people want to get on as fast as they can is because they've got a cabin bag that they want to put in the locker and they want to have above their heads. They don't want to have the back of the plane or miles away. So I understand that. The solution is travel light. Don't take a ton of stuff onto the plane, because all that does is it clogs everything up. It's too much clutter, and especially if you're sitting next to people and you start putting big bags under your feet, or overuse the lockers. You say, and fair enough. Hey, people have that allocation, and if you want to take four bags on, you can. But I'm saying if you're able to travel light, you don't need to stress about it. It's easy. Just go straight on. Small bag can easily go under your seat in front of you, or it can easily be fitted into the upper cabin without having to move any big bags. So, yeah, I would say if you can, don't take the big bags, tons of luggage on the plane, and just respectful of other people's space. Because that's the other thing that's a bit annoying is you get on, you got your seat, you open the overhead luggage, and someone's put four or five bags up there, clearly all the same person, and yeah, that's just does have a knock-on effect and makes it a little bit annoying. Number three is be respectful when reclining. Now, reclining your chair on an aeroplane is quite a controversial subject. I've seen plenty of articles written on it in arguments saying it's fair game, do it what you like, blah 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 blah. I would say no. I'd say generally it's just good etiquette to be mindful of the person behind you. Certainly, if you're in economy, because if you recline when they're eating dinner or something, it becomes very compact and very claustrophobic. It can even happen so in premium economy. So I don't see too much of an issue of just saying to someone, "Oh, do you mind if I recline my chair?" The other thing about that would also be don't recline during food service because what really frustrates me. So I sound like I have a rant now, but I've got an image here, which is people recline all their way back, they get their food, and then they just lean forward to eat with the chair back, which obviously makes life a little bit harder for the person behind them. So be respectful and push your chair up when you're eating. And one final point on that is that the chair tends to have a fixed level of recline. So when people are really trying to push back hard, really trying to get say it's not a flat bed, it's never going to be a flat bed. That extra millimeter you may make by pushing it harder or pushing it out of socket, I don't think it's really worth it. Number four is avoid back seat bashing. Now, backseat bashing is often, in fairness to people, provoked somewhat by a recline that's annoying them. But you know the sort of situation where you're hitting the LCD screen really hard, bashing it, you're kicking this chair in front of you, you're kneeing it, and so on like that. I understand if people are obviously a bit limited for space, but I kind of get the impression that sometimes that's maybe done in anger at the lack of space caused by a recline. Not always, but sometimes. And the other thing on the back seat issue, which is if you are getting out of your seat, try not to grab the headrest in front of you and yank it back. That can be super annoying. And I understand sometimes people might have mobility issues, but it can cause some discomfort for the person in front of you. So maybe avoid that. Number 5 is be mindful with your music, or sound generally. Most people are still fairly respectful on flights, but you do tend to get some people that will either play music, that's quite rare to play music, but they'll often start playing games on their phones or their tablets, and they won't turn the sound off. So you kind of get these really annoying, consistent, like rings, bings, whizzing sounds, and it can disturb you if you are trying to get some sleep or just trying to have a relax. So if you do want to do that, absolutely fine, but be a bit respectful and just put it on mute, especially if those games are for the kiddies because they have the really annoying sounds. Number 6, which is arguably the most important one on this list, is be polite, be respectful, and be helpful to all the cabin crew. These are some really fantastic people, patients of a saint, really helpful, really genuine, and are there to take care of you. First and foremost, your safety. So don't get leery, don't get mean, don't get snarky, and try and appreciate that they're in as much of a position as you are when things go wrong. If your flight's delayed, and you might miss a connecting flight, or I have people who, they might have to get to a funeral, which is understandable that you're going to be upset and stressed. There's nothing that that cabin crew member can do about it. They're not an engineer, they're not a mechanic, they're not air traffic control. So just be calm. And when we've been in those situations, we were caught up in the air traffic control meltdown in August, bank holiday 2023, I think it was, and there were people understandably frustrated, but it's like they're just doing their job. So, just don't take it out on them if things go wrong. Likewise, you can see it can be quite a repetitive job. Like, for example, when they're going around asking what you want for dinner, you know what the options are. You've seen the menu, you could have heard them 4 or 5 rows earlier. So just say, "Hi, I'll have the beef and some red wine Merlot," or whatever you're going to have. Because I guess it might be frustrating. I mean, I don't know. Maybe some airline workers will have a better insight than me. But generally speaking, just be nice to them because they're good people and they're working hard and they really don't need earfuls and grumpy or unpleasant passengers. Number 7 is take your rubbish with you, or hand it to the staff, or go to the little galleys to dispose of it in between flights. It is a little bit annoying when, especially if you're sat next to someone and there's quite a lot of trash. There's lots of wrappers. They keep spilling things onto your side. So try to keep things clean and pleasant and uncluttered for the sake of some of the other passengers and the people who have to clean up after you as well. Number 8 is disembark in a nice, calm, orderly fashion. We've all seen it, haven't we? The second the plane lands, everyone's mobile phones on. The second it's creeping up to the gate, belts are coming undone, seat belts are coming undone. People are going up, getting out their cabin bags, ready to go. Start pushing past people. It's like, no, it doesn't matter, does it? I've always thought this doesn't matter because you still got to get through passport security. You still got to then wait for your bag, which can take forever if you're unlucky. So what's the rush? What's the rush? And that would be the takeaway, which would be don't start pushing and trying to get in front of people. Just disembark row by row. Keep it calm. Don't get stressed. Don't get stressed because that kind of aggression and physicality. That's another thing that's also can be a little bit intimidating for people. Certainly, if there's either disabled people or frail people or old people potentially, and you've got some rather aggressive person trying to push past them to get in front. So yeah, just wait your turn, be nice, and be patient. Number 9 is don't crowd around the conveyor belt with the luggage. Obviously, once you get through passport and customs, and I know it can be a difficult process, and waiting for your bags because you want to get out of there, enjoy your holiday, or get to the office as quickly as you want. What tends to happen, and I'm sure we've all seen this, is people then stand right up. First of all, it starts where the exit of the conveyor belt is. They'll stand right up against there, and then the next person will come along, and it gets like a sea of people all the way around. That's frustrating because one, people can't see when their bag's coming out, and two, if they do manage to see their bag coming out, they either have to try and push past someone, ask someone to move who may not move, and it becomes quite a stressful thing, especially if you're not in a position to be able to easily get the bags or need a bit of space for whatever reason it is. So the easy solution would be for everyone maybe to take a meter or two step back, wait to see their bags, walk forward, pick up the bags, walk back again. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be widely practiced, and that extra 10, 20, 30 seconds is not really going to make that much difference at all. So it's one of those things I try to avoid, but unfortunately, so I mentioned the domino effect. Once one person does it, a bit like reclining, once one person does it, it creates a knock-on effect where everyone does it, and it's yeah, everyone ends up annoyed and frustrated, and also having their personal space invaded. So yeah, that's something to avoid as well. And my 10th and final tip for air travel etiquette is just be a nice person generally. I know travel can be stressful, especially air travel. There's a lot of hoops to jump. There's the getting through the airport. There's people not being confident flyers or whatever it is. So let's all just have a bit of patience. Try and have a bit of understanding and a bit of calmness, because I think in that intense, or that's not intense, but that situations like that, either it's a little bit enclosed, a little bit intense, and if someone pushes the chair back, like I said earlier, it's quite common to want to kick the back of their chair. If someone says something rude to you, you want to say something rude back. If you haven't got the right food or you're delayed, so yeah, I understand it can be a pretty stressful experience, but if you're just patient with people, try to consider someone else's point of view, try and stay relaxed. It will make the huge amount of difference. So yeah, I'm probably missed out a few, but I'm sure anyone can let me know of other things that irk them. But if we do all sort of follow these things and just be nice to each other, which is corny but it's true, we're all going to have a nicer time in the air and on our holidays. Thanks very much, and see you soon.